Hello there. So I just wanted to make a quick video about an update on this game I've been talking about. So yesterday I actually started building the prototype for a bit, so I figured I'd make a quick video about it. So let's cue the intro. Well, shit, I don't really think I have an intro. Cue something. So I just wanted to make a short video about what I've been doing the last couple of days, because I finally started working on this prototype that I've mentioned before. So I want to talk a bit about my minimal viable prototype, and by that I mean basically the minimum things I kind of set up as requirements before I can kind of show you guys what it is that I'm trying to make. And to understand that, I suppose I should put a few words on about what actually kind of game I'm trying to make here. So the idea is a tactical RPG game. So basically you have you put together like a group of characters or creatures that have special abilities and special advantages and disadvantages, and you put them in this combat situation against other creatures or adventurers. And that could potentially be other players. I haven't decided on that part yet, but I'm fairly certain that I want to make this a multiplayer game as well, to make it a bit competitive. But for the first part, I'll be doing this as a single player game. So basically, you would go in, have your characters, put them against monsters and fight them. So that does sound like a lot of other games, and I suppose there are elements of that. But the base part I just want, at least for the prototype, is just to get this combat system out there, so you can kind of see moving your characters around on this hex grid, using your abilities and yeah, things like that. So I'm kind of going with the idea that you have your characters, but you also have you. So that means that you level up as well as your characters level up, and you leveling up could potentially mean that you get, for instance, you get like a dungeoneering skill, right? So now you're better at being in dungeons. And what does that mean? Well, if you imagine that we have like the combat grid, then because you have like a tactical advantage, you might be able to maybe move some of the obstacles around, kind of to emulate that you're better at positioning yourself. So you can kind of have an advantage in terms of setting up some of the battlefield that you'll be battling on. Anyway, so the basic things I need done before I can kind of show off this prototype is this combat grid. So basically visualizing it, and of course being able to move units around on it. And also I would need some basic pathfinding, or maybe even some decent pathfinding. So that means that if you click on a unit and say move here, then he will move there in a logical manner, not just waltzing through enemies or obstacles and stuff like that. So they kind of need a bit of intelligence to kind of navigate whatever obstacles there might be in the map. And also, as I mentioned, the whole combat system, I kind of need to have this whole basic combat system set up. And this also includes like at least basic stats on these creatures, like attack and damage and stuff like that. But I invented this system I call the heroic system, which is basically an aberration of the 6 stats that your heroes could have. So heroic stands for health, endurance, resistance, offense, initiative, and charisma, each governing their own part of your character. So for instance, a magical character would need a lot of charisma, because that would make them do more damage. And on the other hand, if you have a high resistance, you would be better able to resist damage from spells and things like that. But I'm going too much into detail, I suppose. And the last part I need is also like a basic AI, because one thing is being able to move your units around, and now we have let's say we have the basic combat system in place, so we can do like a bit of attacks, maybe even some equipment. I'm not really sure I want to include that in the prototype, because that's another level again. But at very least we have like a basic combat system, and then we need an AI that at the very least can move the units around and attack our units. And I would say that it would be even better if it could actually be, give you some resistance, some so it doesn't suck, basically. So anyways, I promised to show you guys a little bit before ending the video, and so this is Unity, the program I'm working in, and let's just hit the play button here. So this is, now we are in game, and as you can see there's not much to do. I spend most of the time so doing the math, this grid we have here. As you can see, when you hover over the tiles, they change color, and notice that this is an obstacle, so this is a pillar, well, just a placeholder for a pillar, and then it's marked with red, and that could be anything. It could also be like a hole or something else. And then we have this one here that I call Guy. He can do absolutely nothing right now, but I do have just him here to kind of show that you have the system that you can hover over your units, you can select them, but right now he does nothing when I click. But that's basically the graphics so far. There's also, right now I'm in the process of coding actually this guy, both the stats for him. I mentioned this heroic stat system that I did, and I'm doing a bit of all the XP part. Nothing too advanced yet, just so when I am able to, you know, get this guy moving and maybe have some enemies here somewhere, get them to move against each other, so I can like calculate some damage and kill them off and get some XP and kind of get that whole system going. But that is kind of the gist of it. Like you will be battling on these on this grid, and you'll be moving your characters, and they will take turns. And the idea for now is that I mentioned these stats, and the initiative stat is basically the speed stat. So imagine that there are like 3 enemies here, and you have your maybe 2 or 3 units here, and then you take turns moving, but this is based on how high initiative your character has. So if this one had the highest initiative, he would get to move first, and then so basically if all your characters had higher initiative than the other characters, you would actually get to move all your characters first. So making speed like an important thing, but of course other stats like health and damage they can do also factors in. And so this map is quite small right now, and I'm kind of planning to, I already made the system so that we can have several different map sizes. And as you can see also, the camera movement here is all in game, the program to what you can do, but it's not done yet. As you can see that I can look in directions that I probably shouldn't be while playing, and I can even like flip like 180 and all that stuff. So but for now this is where we're at. So nothing too impressive yet, but and I suppose for the prototype there won't be that fancy graphics either. I am planning to just use people like this guy here and maybe have them in different colors and shapes and sizes, just to kind of illustrate different units. Anyways, that was all I wanted to show for today. So I hope this was coherent enough. It's late in the evening and actually late in the night, so maybe I shouldn't be doing this video right now, but anyways, that is. So if you have any questions or input, feel free to share them or contact me and just let me know what you think. And also, if you're new here and you find this interesting, you like what we're doing here, do remember to subscribe to tag along. And also leave a like if you like this, or maybe a dislike, but then at least leave a comment about why, so I can improve. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video. Bye.